Roll. I have the City of Blue Lake Vice Chair Scalfani, alternate. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Director Castellano.
Here.
Director Katie.
Here.
And we have alternate Director Madrone.
Here.
And Director Wilson.
Here.
We are all here. All right. Let's go right into the consent calendar. We have A, approve minutes from the April 10th, 2025 directors meeting, and B, review and approve February 2025 financial reports. Does anybody want to pull anything? Do we have any public comment? All right. I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve the consent calendar.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, consent passes. Then we'll move to oral written communication. Is there any comment from the public? Anybody on Zoom?
Seeing none, Chair.
All right, moving right along. Let us go right into consider a proposed policy for merchant fees. And can I get a staff report, please?
Thank you, Chair. HWMA utilizes QuickBooks payments to accept electronic billing account payments. This is a service that has grown steadily in popularity with both authority customers and staff since it was introduced. Electronic payments reduce payment processing times, divert waste from the landfill, and improve accuracy, but they also incur the merchant fees associated with card payment processing. While staff believes that merchant fees are a reasonable expense for the authority, this cost has increased in recent budget cycles. Staff has observed that a small number of authority customers are making very large credit card payments, which provide less of a benefit to authority staff and ratepayers. Staff recommends that the board consider revising the HWMA fee resolution to authorize staff to bill customers for merchant fees when their payments exceed $5,000 in one monthly billing cycle. While the number of customers impacted would be small, this proposed policy revision would deter very large credit card payments without burdening residential ratepayers.
All right, I'll open it up from discussion for the board. Leslie?
Sure. Thank you. I think this makes a lot of sense. I'm curious how many customers we're talking about here.
Seven in the past 9 months, but not all of those are regular over $5,000 a month customers. I would say probably 3 are regular customers that pay in those amounts. So it is a very small number of customers who would be impacted.
Thank you. And would it be possible to, because there's other methods of electronic transfer like ACH payments or something like that to, if this passes tonight, as we implement it, to just educate these customers about potential other opportunities that might save them from paying the fees?
We have tried.
Okay.
Customers tend to be unfamiliar with ACH payments and a little uncomfortable with it. It does save 2/3. It's 1% instead of 3% for us to accept an ACH payment. And some of our customers, like Recology, pay us directly by ACH, which incurs no fee for the authority.
Right.
So we have tried educating our customers without a whole lot of success. We also don't have the ability to limit the size of a credit card payment. Our system is a blanket yes or blanket no for what kind of payments we accept. And that's another challenge, that we can't say, yes to payments under a certain amount, but no to payments above, which is why we are proposing this methodology.
Thank you. And almost $40,000 a year is pretty significant in terms of, must be some fairly large amounts for some of them.
It's 1/3 of the authority's merchant fees budget. It's 75% of the accounts receivable merchant fees budget. So this is not the scale house credit card transactions that we are looking at. We're looking at accounts receivable payments.
Okay, thank you.
I'm wondering, how did you come up with the $5,000 cap? I mean, it would seem that, maybe.
We talked about it a lot. We talked about how to identify a reasonable limit and how to identify the customers that were incurring the largest fees without affecting too many customers. We also didn't want a system where people could make a payment of $499 and then another payment of, multiple payments. We didn't want it to be a single dollar amount per payment, but rather per billing cycle. But we really just looked at the largest numbers, and we felt that $5,000 was a threshold that would affect very few people while still having an impact on the budget.
Yeah,
positive impact.
Because I think people are at this point used to having, credit card fees tacked onto things. And how many more people would it affect if you lowered it to like $3,000, for example? It could maybe help your bottom line a little.
We would capture more if we did that. Yeah.
Do you think that there'd be a big outcry if you did that?
I think that the $5,000 limit captures the most egregiously expensive payments.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
How much did you say your merchant fee was? Is it 1% or 2.5%?
It's 3%,
3%.
when a customer pays us by credit card. Okay. If they pay us by ACH, it's 1%. So we're not proposing to bill back for those fees. My hope is that those customers affected by this would make that choice with their own. They know that they have that option, and that they would choose a check payment or an ACH payment instead, or choose to pay the fees.
On the smaller fees, or on the big ones, you would bill the big
just
ones?
for the credit card fees. We're
Just for
not
the credit
proposing
card.
to bill for ACH fees at this
You
time.
don't bill for an ACH, do you? Or you do?
People can pay us with an ACH payment. It incurs a lower fee.
Is that the one that was 1%?
That's the 1%.
Okay, good. Because I recently went through this with the county, and if you get one of those numbers wrong, I paid my property taxes, and when I paid my property taxes, I got a number wrong, and but the county told me, fine, here's a receipt, print out a receipt, it's paid, and then they sent me a letter and fined me significantly because it essentially the check bounced because the number was wrong, but they had, because they're a third party. Are you going to a third party?
Yes, QuickBooks
Okay,
is the third party in this case.
I realize it's difficult. Like when you go to a store, if you go to a store with a credit card, they know if it didn't work. Or if you call in and you give them a credit card, they know if it doesn't work. They don't necessarily know that on an ACH for a day, maybe two. But there's a lot more stuff. I know PG&E just came out that they're going to charge for, I think, $1.50 on an ACH for this. Everybody is getting tight, and so everybody's figuring out a way to get additional money out of the people paying and not incur these fees. So I think it's a great idea because on these significant ones, it's a lot of money. And even on like with the county, if you did it, if I'd paid it, theirs was 2.5%. I think our city we're 2.5%. On it, and so that's significant. If you have a $125 water bill, that's not a big deal. I think Scotia is. I've seen stuff that they're charging everybody $20 to make a payment with their credit card. On these bigger ones, if somebody's doing whatever 3% of 5,000. Is that $1,500? Is that what I'm thinking?
I think so.
Yeah, that's a big chunk of money, and if they're doing that kind of business, they ought to have accountants smart enough to figure out how to do an ACH. It would just, if not, bill them. They'll figure it out.
There are multiple ways that customers can pay large payments. They have a lot of options, and I think staff feels that the authority should carry the burden of merchant fees that help people come in and out of the transfer station quickly, that reduce processing time at the scale house, allow for contactless payments, it improves safety. Those are reasonable fees. But if you're making a $125,000 accounts receivable payment, you have multiple options for how you can make that payment conveniently,
Right, sure.
electronically, digitally. There are many options. And subsidizing that makes less sense for the authorities' ratepayers.
I'm with you. I think it's a great idea.
So if we pass this tonight, will this go into effect immediately, or will you send out a notice that says, hey, like next month we're going to start doing this? What does that process look like?
Yeah, so if the board directs us to move forward with this, we will include it in the upcoming waste management fee resolution. So there will be language in there that calls out exactly how we will charge it, how we will go about it. We will also add a line item to the fee table that specifies that we have the ability to charge for that as well. Generally, individuals who come into the transfer station or do business with us, they don't read our entire waste management fee resolution, but they do look at the fee table. So we make sure that we put it in there. And then it would go into effect with the new fiscal year when that resolution goes into effect. So the board could, if they would like, put it into effect immediately. That's not something that staff would recommend at this time, just because of how close we are to the new fiscal year. But yeah, it will be rolling out within the next couple months.
I'll make that motion. Yeah,
Motion?
yeah, I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion by Director Wilson and a second from Director Katie. I'm going to take it out to public comment before I take a roll call vote. Anybody on Zoom?
Seeing none, Chair.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion passes. And so let us move on to set a special meeting for the purpose of approving annual budget for fiscal year 25-26. Let's get out our calendars.
Thank you, Chair. So to dovetail a little bit off of what we just talked about, the budget, the HWMA and staff received news of a couple of different items. So 2 items that resulted in us feeling it was appropriate to push this to a special meeting item for this month. We've heard back from the jurisdictions that contract negotiations with their franchise haulers are going well. And we have now incredibly high hopes that a contract will be coming in the next couple of months for several of you jurisdictions. That also means that we anticipate not this fiscal year, but fiscal year 26-27, collection for organics material may be rolling out. So prior to that, staff was under the impression, and jurisdiction staff as well, that there may not be franchise negotiations finalized within this fiscal year, which is why we did not budget for really any line item or expenses in the organics budget and division. Obviously, we are going to work under the assumption that that is going to change by July 1 of 2026, and we want to make sure that we are ready should your jurisdictions finalize your franchise agreements and your franchise haulers have the ability to collect that material. That also means that we're going to be moving forward with the grant. So those expenditures and funds are going to be put back into the budget as well to make sure that we balance it correctly. So all in all, while it's not ideal to delay our fiscal year budget this late in the year for us, we thought that it was well worth it to make sure that we get ready for what's upcoming. And so staff would recommend either the latter half of the 3rd week in May or the 4th week in May. And obviously I'll send it back to the board to discuss your guys' availability for that. And so the dates we would be looking for is the May 21st, 22nd, 23rd, or May 27th, 28th, 29th.
How much of the board do you need to pass that? I know we have 2 alternates here, so I want to make sure if we agree on a date.
I need 5 yes votes.
Okay. So you want to agree on something tentative now and circle back with...
That's fine.
Okay. What were the dates you were looking at? 21st, 22nd, 23rd?
Yeah, May 21st, 22nd, 23rd, or the same dates in that next week, the 27th, 28th, 29th, somewhere around there.
The
All right.
27th is almost the only date I could attend.
Um,
The 22nd's RCEA.
27th for me.
do we have to do it at 5:30? I mean,
Technically, we can do it at your availability. Staff will make themselves available. Obviously, I don't believe there's any issues, General Counsel, with having it at an alternate time, like 3:30.
the 21st, I have a council meeting, but I can do the 22nd or the 23rd. And no, you can't do that.
Out of town.
You're out of town.
A special meeting can be set for any time, any
Yeah.
location.
Okay. Can it be on Zoom?
No.
Okay. Just thought it,
Sorry.
throwing it out there. Just thought I'd ask. I would really hate to have it on the 29th. It's the weekend my son's graduating from high school and I have family in town. But if that's the only day that
27th?
27th.
27. Okay. How about the 28th?
Can we do it a little earlier? Can we do it like 4?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm also available during the day on the 27th or 28th.
No, the 20th is great if we can do it a little earlier.
What day were you saying?
It's a Wednesday, the 28th.
The 28th. I could probably do it the 28th. You say doing it at 4 o'clock?
I mean, anytime is, I'm just throwing out 4 because that would be ideal for me. If it works for everybody, work for you?
Mm-hmm.
Works for me, work for you?
I could do the 28th.
28th at 4. Could you do that, Director Wilson?
28th at 4?
Yeah.
That's a Wednesday, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I could do that.
All right. So we are going to put a tentative hold on that. And then.
I don't think we can be represented.
Okay. So we'll need to will you reach out to Director Bushnell then and make sure that, okay. And then, but you've got 2 alternates, so.
One chance out of 3 there, so we'll probably make it.
All right, awesome. So I'm going to put a hold there for HWMA. If I don't put it on my calendar, I will forget. So, all right.
So you said that. So it's the.
So we are
28th.
tentative
Tentative 28th at 4.
Wednesday the 20th at 4 o'clock. All right. Let's move on to board member reports. Does anybody have anything to report?
How many board members are there total? 8 or 9?
This is it.
This is it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
5 out of 6.
For the budget, correct.
Super.
We are super. Anybody have anything to report?
I will say I keep getting requests in McKinleyville about green waste collection. But that's up to Humboldt Sanitation, I believe.
Yeah, so currently, if you wanted me to touch on that, I know that county staff, public works staff, has been in brief contact with your North County franchise hauler, but they have been supremely focused with their Mid and South County franchise haulers. And I know that they're going to be using that new contract template to approach your North County franchise haulers as well to start expanding on those services.
Appreciate that. I will say that Humboldt Sanitation does an amazing job of accepting garbage when we do trash bashes all over the county. The county covers the basic trash bash, but we've got about a half a dozen volunteers that spend days every week going around and collecting up stuff, and Humboldt Sanitation owners cover that themselves. So I do very much appreciate that community service on their part. So.
I am really thrilled to hear that contract negotiations are moving along and going well. I really appreciate the work that you and the jurisdictions have done. I'm looking forward to getting to the end of that. And we're looking forward to having you talk to our city council. I don't know if we've set a date yet, but I do know that Merritt should be reaching out to you to set a date to have you come talk to us.
Thank you for presenting to the Eureka City Council in April. And then also, I've been working with a group of nonprofit organizations and citizens on a kind of a trash pickup project. And I want to thank Director Keller-Heckman for just providing some insight into the planning around that with a group of, so thank you.
And I'll remind everybody that's listening that Oyster Fest is coming up on June 15th, and we are a zero waste event, and we are looking for volunteers to help us with that goal of being a zero waste event. So thank you. All right, well, let's move on to the executive director's report.
Nothing to report at this time, Chair. Thank you.
Is this a record? All right, I'll adjourn. Thank you. See you May 28th.